So today is parent tip number 30, and it directly involves distance learning and to teach your kids to own their learning experience. So there are questions you can ask them first thing in the morning, and there are some questions to ask at the end of their distance learning session or the end of their academic day. So these are the 5 questions I will share with you. What classes do you have today? Because right now we're not sure how the schedule will be. Will they have math every day? Are assignments going to be due once a week or at the very next day? So, what classes do you have that day? Any assignments that they need to work on that day? And how much time will you spend? So, this is regarding another parent tip where you're planning and scheduling. But if they do make the time to plan a specific time frame, because we don't know, right? Is it going to be a 4 hour distance learning session? But what will they be responsible for completing that very day? Maybe they just have 2 pages of math. They might have a reading comprehension exercise. They might start on a project that might be due several weeks from the date that it's assigned. And what resources do they need? You might have them, if they're not sure what resources are available or if they have any questions regarding the resources, they should ask their teacher and not you. But if you want to provide resources or help them learn how to Google for resources that are legitimate. A lot of teachers don't like Wikipedia. .gov is very reputable, or if they have, from New York Times or a reputable publication, definitely any encyclopedia, right? If there's a Harvard study, Stanford study, anything that's credible. And usually teachers will guide students into what resources that they need. It could just be a video that the teachers want them to watch. And if it's not attached in Google Classroom, or I notice some students can't access it for whatever reason, but these are the questions that your child would need to email. Maybe you can help depending on how young your student is. You know, maybe they might need help in wording the email, but ultimately it is their responsibility and it shouldn't be yours. So it'll be very scary to let go. I started letting go when my youngest was in 4th grade, and probably took me a good 7 years because as an educator, and I think a lot of parents have a hard time just letting go and trusting, especially since the educational system right now is just very unpredictable and up in the air. And of course, the last question, what can you do to help? What is a reasonable amount of help that you are willing to give? Because you don't want it to be your full time job. You don't want to spend hours trying to help your child find resources or, even finish the assignment. I see too many parents stressing out, acting as if it is their assignment and not their child's assignment. So just, ask those questions in the morning. At the end of the day, how far did they get? So you are doing accountability and looking at, show me your progress. Or if you really want to let go, are you happy with your progress? And maybe they can just write down a little checklist of what they accomplished. What did you discover? What did they learn? Sometimes the best learning lessons don't have anything to do with the actual academic assignment, but maybe they learned how to research. Maybe they learned about something that excited them, that they found an interest. One of my students, they were doing just a reading comprehension on octopus, and he wanted to watch octopus videos. And he wanted to learn, why, how they squirted ink, and what was the process that they had to go through. And then that is a research project in itself. And lastly, I mean, was it easy? Was it hard? So it's a lot of self reflection. I think recently I've noticed that they do have self discovery responses where students have to explain, what they learned, how did they learn it, and really it's just much more than just memorize and spit out, but apply it. Also, how can they apply what they learned in real life? Oftentimes they can't see how it can be relevant, but if anything, they might have learned something about the difficulty of doing it, or how they were resilient and they figured it out, or they couldn't figure it out and they were frustrated at it. But anything to do with self discovery is always an opportunity to learn. Lastly, what can you folks do to make tomorrow better, especially when they become frustrated and there's a math problem? I see so many parents ask other parents, how do you solve this math problem? And again, don't make it yours to solve, but make a note of it and either ask classmates or ask the teacher, or find out using a multitude of resources. Nowadays with Google, you can actually put in the type of math problem, and it's amazing how you'll find resources that actually tell you step by step how the problem was solved. So that is my Parenting Tip 30. It directly involves distance learning and the new normal learning environment. It is going to be very scary for teachers, parents, and students. I am going to have the privilege of interviewing a seasoned educator, a mother of 2 adult daughters, currently in Chicago, but I had the pleasure of working with her when I was a special ed teacher at Kaleo Pu'u Elementary School, so in Kunia. So the interview will happen on Friday, but I will probably post it sometime next week or the week after, because I'm only posting one interview a week. So please, if you're interested in being interviewed, I would love to have different perspectives as a mother, as an educator, even as an aunt. Even if you don't have kids, I think everyone has some type of experience, a life experience that will benefit parents, life knowledge that will benefit students. So please email me, kgbrainbuilders@gmail.com, or message me on Mama's Gotta Let Go on Facebook. And that was parenting tip number 30. Bye. Thanks for listening.